Y'all know that's my song right there. Blessed Messenger. You never ever failed me yet. Never. Never ever failed me yet. Well, without further ado, I'm going to welcome our guests. We have two amazing guests. As I said before, we're going to be talking about the Hip Hop FinFest that is coming up shortly this month. We spoke with a young man last year named Dyalekt and had a great conversation. And we're also going to be joined today with Queen Heroine. So please, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome. We welcome Dyalekt and Queen Heroine to the show. Good morning, you both.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Well, welcome to Caribbean Rhythms Radio Network. We're so glad to have y'all this morning. And we're so excited to talk about the second annual Hip Hop FinFest. Are y'all excited?
Ooh, we just got in the student submissions and we got to pour through all of these songs. I'm excited. Queen, how are you feeling?
I'm definitely excited. There's no question. These kids, money, hip hop was better than that.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
Mix in two worlds. But before we get into the details, I'll open the floor for you both just to explain. I know last year, Dyalekt, we had you on talking about Hip Hop FinFest, but just remind the listeners exactly what is the FinFest and the goal of it.
Most definitely. Yeah. So the Hip Hop FinFest is a song competition where students 12 to 18, junior high and high school kids get free online lessons about personal finance. They get to go through these lessons, learn about that. There's lessons also on how to write a song and how to record a song by legends in hip hop and beats made by other kids. And what we invite students to do is check out the lessons, find the things that resonate with you, that you feel, that mean something to you. And then when you have an idea that you want to share with the world, get one of those beats made by other students and make a song. We have legends in the hip hop game, legends in the business world who come and evaluate the songs and give out prizes. The competition itself isn't the important part of it. It's the building community, bringing people around, sharing these things. The reason why we started this Hip Hop FinFest is, as of this month, I will have been a hip hop educator for 20 years and 1 month.
Whoa, so, amen. Congratulations. We got to clap for you on that one. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Trying to be better about bragging my things, but
I know you're humble.
I've been in classrooms for years, and as a hip hop educator, just to let folks know a little bit about it, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to be rapping or dancing or DJing with the kids. It's often the needs for building, for creating community, for destroying the hierarchical systems that are keeping us from being able to learn and finding ways to reach students where they're at.
Yes.
Sometimes that involves doing the music stuff. Sometimes it doesn't. And oftentimes we would shy away from it because we wanted to prove our legitimacy to these schools and organizations and principals. But the thing that we found is the biggest barrier to financial education is not necessarily bad financial education. It's the common sense out there. Common sense will tell you not to check your own credit score, because if you check your credit score, the credit score will go down. That's not true. But I know you've spoken to someone in your life who has told you that, or you may have thought that yourself, and you're not wrong or stupid or alone for thinking that. That has been pushed on us. That has become common sense. And the best way to change common sense is through art. Yeah. Cats didn't start dressing like the Wall Street executives with the slick back hair and the pinstripe suits until the movie Wall Street. Cats will follow the things that these folks share. So we invite the students, once they've learned the real about finance, once they've gone through the myths, so they can share with their community what the real is, so that we can change what common sense is.
Come on now. And Queen Heroine, I know, we weren't able to speak with you last year, so I'm glad to have you this year. I know you are an hip-hop artist as well. Let us just know a little bit about your background in music and hip-hop as well.
Absolutely. And it's an honor to be here with you guys. In addition, and I think this is something really important that many people don't know, because of what Dyalekt was just saying, this idea of shying away from exploring or sharing both aspects. So I've been an educator as well for about 20 years as well, or on and off, not as consistently, but I've been in the education system as well. I come from a family of educators. My mother's a retired educator. My brothers both teach in the Bronx. And so education and hip hop is something that has never really been totally separated from my experience. I think because of different societal expectations, we tended to separate it before many years ago.
Yes.
And so just recently, I would say the last 5-10 years, we're finally starting to have this important discussion. This is why platforms like this are so important and critical just for growth, because, our children in our communities, they don't separate. This is about lifestyle and culture
Yes.
and who we are. And so it's a blessing to be able to navigate both spaces as an MC and an educator comfortably. But I've been writing since I was 12 as far as the MC aspect. I've been teaching since I was about 21. And so I feel very fluid. I've had students tell me, you don't sound like a teacher, you sound like a rapper in class. That happened a couple of months ago. And I was like, I am a rapper.
Yeah.
They were like, no, you're not. I was like, yeah.
Oh God, and I'm
You
sure,
know?
I'm sure they were like just in awe, like, whoa, yeah, this, it just kind of
Yeah.
changes their perspective a little.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing because
Yes.
ultimately, as said a moment ago, it's really about community, and community is about connection. And so it's finding ways to connect with our students, with families as well, through the things that bring us all together.
Yes.
And hip hop and education certainly is that. Music and education is certainly that.
Yes, just like as you said, dialect. It's meeting the children where they are, right, and then guiding them from where they are as well. And I know you both know, but as the listeners were sharing that this year is also hip hop's 50th anniversary, and
Come on.
I mean, what a great time to. What a great way to also celebrate hip hop. So what is. How does that connect, and how does that impact the FinFest this year, knowing that we're celebrating 50 years of hip hop?
I'll say quickly the first thing for me that I think of is this is a reminder that hip hop is not a fad. Hip hop is not quote unquote youth culture or some new thing or some random thing. This is something that at this point, hip hop is grandparent age, and the
Yes.
roots of it stretch so much farther back. It always feels like you're trying to tear it down when people are like, "Oh, this is youth culture. This is just like something that spawned up and has no real roots." And just looking at the deep roots that hip hop has in New York alone, as it stretches out to the Caribbean, those of us who came up in the Caribbean and the Caribbean roots of a lot of the elements and styles, it shows that it reminds us of how valid this culture and this mode of music, of art, and of learning really is in this society. How it's like probably, that and jazz is the best stuff that America's made.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes. I guess I can add into. I guess I'm part of the educator crew now. I'm an elementary school music teacher. Just recently got into the business. Yeah, whoop 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 whoop.
Congrats.
Thank you. I'm part of the club
That's
now.
beautiful.
But we actually not back in Black History Month, we were talking about hip hop actually, and I said, guys, this is the 50th year for hip hop, and we started discussing, especially with my fourth graders, we started discussing, how hip hop is so influential to all of the music. I mean that that they listen to today. Some of the old, the I call them the OG hip hop artists. I was sharing them, and they're like, I said without these pioneers of hip hop, the music you enjoy today, it might not be that same. And they were just so in awe, and it's just so great to be able to share hip hop. And like you said, so many people try to tear hip hop down or put negative connotation to it, but hip hop is a reflection of our culture. It's a reflection of our life, and I love that FinFest uses hip hop, and that you both in your education and in your lives, you use hip hop to tell our culture, to tell the story, and to educate our people. I also noticed that this year, the theme for the FinFest, it's connecting financial literacy. So Hip Hop FinFest wants our needs too. Can you explain a little bit about the focus and the theme of this year's FinFest?
Yeah, this one is really important to me. This one matters a lot to me. I have been spending a lot of my time. I didn't start out as a hip hop and finance educator. I was teaching literacy, self efficacy, poetry, all sorts of different things.
Mm-hmm.
And about 6 or 7 years, I joined in the finance space. So I've been doing all this research, going to conferences, learning about behavioral finance, the psychology behind it. And the biggest thing that I've learned is that you'll never stick to a budget you don't believe in.
Mm-hmm.
If stuff doesn't matter to you, when you get a budget, they tell you, okay, well, you gotta pay your rent, so you gotta take that out, and then you gotta take out for your phone, you gotta take out for your groceries, and after that, put it all away, go sleep on a rock, live literally Spartanly, have nothing, and then when
Yep.
you're 65, you'll be rich, right?
Uh-huh.
You you're not gonna do that.
No.
Not only is that like it's a terrible way to live, right? We don't want to actually live like that right now, but also our brains and bodies aren't wired like that. It ain't gonna work.
Mm-mm.
So what we found is when we engage young folks and grown folks, we work with adults too, about what matters to you. What do you want to spend energy? What do you want to spend time on? What do you want to spend money on that makes life worth living? That makes you want to get up in the morning, that makes you ready to save money and not spend on random advertisements that are calling after you because you have some purpose, something that matters to you. And it can be something that is grand and for the community and saving the people, or it can be like that small thing you like, the way you get your hair done, the
Mm-hmm.
snacks you eat with your friends. The good feelings that are created through that are what builds your savings muscle. Your savings and spendings are connected. And rather than telling people to only spend on your needs, which is a faulty way to go, we have to understand that our wants are needs too. They are important. And when you find what's important to you, then everything else will fall into place.
Amen. Come on now, Queen Heroine. Do you have anything you'd like to add to that, or any kind of are you, well when Queen Heroine, in your education, what was it that you did? Sorry, I think you might have said it, but what was it that you were teaching?
It's been a range
Oh, okay.
of things over the years. I started out actually teaching pre-K many years ago.
Oh Lord,
That was
woo.
my introduction. Yeah, that was my
That's all
Pre-K.
introduction.
right.
It was into pre-K, and I was there for a couple of years in Mount Vernon with a private-owned business, Black-owned business, as we're talking about, just finances and entrepreneurship. And from there, I went into special education, and I taught special education for quite a few years as well. Um, that was a really insightful
Yeah,
experience.
I
It
can
put me onto
imagine.
a lot. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I ended up going back into the visual arts because of that experience, just because, I realized there were so many students that I was connecting to that I felt like I could connect to on a deeper level. As a matter of fact, one of my students there actually knew about a compilation, Lyricist Lounge, that I had done years ago, and it caused an issue. And it was an interesting thing when you talk about the disconnect again between just education at the time and hip hop. But anyway, so special education, I taught in Chicago. I taught visual arts in Chicago, K
Oh,
through 12. And then I
uh-huh.
currently teach, currently I'm an adjunct professor at Monroe College. And I was in Mount Vernon teaching visual arts too about a month ago. So I fully made the transition, I guess, out of the
Yeah.
classroom fully,
Yes.
but not away from education, because my connection with the Hip Hop Education Center, I'm there in the capacity of the chief curriculum officer. So we deal with curriculum and how we can connect curriculum to hip hop and furthering education and developing additional bonds through, just so many different resources of places. It's endless. It's beyond just the classroom and the
Yes.
traditional
Come
sense of
on.
learning. So,
And
yeah, I've done some teaching.
yeah, you've been all up and through there, girl. You've been
Yes,
all up
ma'am.
and
I've
through
done some
there.
teaching.
And
Yeah.
well, I mean, we're kind of talking about it, but I guess I want to dive, just let you both be able to dive a little deeper. How do you feel that hip hop, and in your own personal ways too, how hip hop can promote a prosperous future for our leaders for tomorrow? And you can even share how hip hop even helped you both get to where you are today in your own personal prosperity and your own personal growth.
I mean, hip hop is why I teach.
Mhm.
Uh, I was living on St. Croix. I think I was 16, 17 years old, and I had written one rap. I just had written one rap, and I showed it to my friend in acting class, and he was like, "I got a rap group," and he brought me back to his spot, a little studio, and we did some raps, and we would listen to the only rap that we would get, because it was all also, soca, calypso, reggae on the island,
Yeah.
maybe some pop music, but they didn't really play no rap. Only the wake up show at 10 p.m. And I found out from Rich Nice, because he has been involved, and Sway, who is one of our other judges, that's because Rich Nice is from St. John. And so, he had that connection to come on down, and they would play it at 10 p.m. and we would listen to it outside this fountain, and we would rap. And I when I went to New York, I investigated everything about hip hop. I went to Crotona Park. I checked out the B-boy jams. I was looking at the Scribble Jam and went to all of these things. And I wondered, why did I care so much about this history and culture and community? And I didn't care as much about my studies. What was being done wrong there? And I dug into the way that hip hop engages folks and sought to engage young people in the same way. And that built my entire career as an educator. So in terms of being able to influence things, this is the stuff that we've been able to take back that we've lost. When people say about how, from African ancestors, the drums were taken away. This is the place where we're able to put the drums back into things and make things make sense. I was not great at math until I started rhyming, and then I swear to you, I got a perfect score on my math SAT because the equations made sense because the rhythms worked out. And when we can connect our personal rhythms to the rhythms of the community at large, we will be able to hear everything. Like the stuff that I'm saying may sound like hippy dippy to some folks, but I'll give you a actual practical. Teach your kid or teach yourself how to rap in the most basic way. Write one rap, do one freestyle, and then go listen to Shakespeare and tell me if you can't understand what they're saying 1,000,000% better than before, when it just all sounded like a mess to you.
Yeah, I needed that. I needed that advice back in high school. Dialect. Where were you? Where were you when I was reading Shakespeare? I couldn't understand a thing. I was reading King Lear for Dummies.
I was doing that. I used to do that session with young folks where we would flip it into anyway. Yeah.
No, but that makes complete sense. It does. And Queen Heron, you're from New York, correct?
I'm from New York, so it was embedded in me. But up to the other day, Dialekt, yesterday even, we were speaking, just in preparation for this wonderful meetup. We're talking about the Caribbean is not far at all from me. My mother's from Jamaica.
Okay,
she's a Kingstonian. Look up. All right, Kingstonian. And my father is a Trini. He's from San Fernando, and we have family in Port of Spain. So for us, it's been an interesting relationship because there's the Caribbean roots, and that was home as soon as we opened the door and came in. Up to yesterday, my mother was like, "What you bringing for Easter Sunday?"
Some bun and cheese.
I'm like, maybe I'll do some plantain or something, Mom. I don't know, but I'll bring something. So it's not at all far. This is who we are, but. Yes. Growing up as a child myself, our family, we were in the northeast part of the Bronx. So anytime you mention White Plains Road, Rocketones, all those things is like, that's West Indianville there. That's home, and so there's those roots. And then you're also, we went to school on Baychester Avenue. And so it's like you come out, there's Edenwald, there's Slick Rick, there's, literally lived in the neighborhood.
Wow.
And so we had this dichotomy of the roots of our culture from a Caribbean background, and then the roots of our culture growing up in the Bronx as young kids.
Yes.
And so that fusion was very unique to us and influential. And then I had, one of my cousins in Jamaica. It's interesting when you look at just from an educational standpoint. He had turntables in the crib. He was fortunate enough to have that in Jamaica. He'd be playing, spinning, mixing back and forth Biggie. And I remember him specifically taking a finance course. And he's 1 year younger than me, but this was in like very, very early high school.
Wow.
And I remember thinking to myself, in my education, we didn't have any finance courses. And when you just think about from a curriculum standpoint, he's now an entrepreneur, and he's an amazing entrepreneur. And so when you look at this conversation of literacy um, infused into education from very early on, and how it sets a tone and creates a platform for
Yes.
just futurism and movement and activism through finances. It's very, very powerful. And so, again, this conversation about hip hop and education, I think it's something that should have been had long ago.
Long
But thank
time.
God, or thank goodness for, I mean, Dialect, just listening to him talk, and it's like I'm over
Mm-hmm.
here writing bars. I'm over here creating my new verse. Like,
Right?
dang, that was so poetic. Wait, let me go back to bar number 6.5.
I literally was
So,
thinking that. Yeah.
it's truly about inspiring each other. It's truly about having these conversations and finding your purpose. I think there were so many key things that he said, feeling good in the ways that you're, investing and what you're investing in.
In.
That
Mm-hmm.
term itself, investment.
Mhm.
We often tend to think of investment, whether it's just a bond or a property. And yes,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
That's
But
true.
when you think about investing in yourself, that first pillar, and how that creates a whole trajectory for how you're going to live your life and what you will spend your money in, and how,
Yeah.
it's really critical. Yeah.
And I'm grateful, as you both say that. I'm grateful for you both and for this entire FinFest because and even you giving the example of your cousin of how now he's such a successful entrepreneur and how that financial class he took, was a great trajected him into his future. And I being in education now, I realize we really have to put so much into these youth and try to educate them as
Mm.
best because they really are the future and they really are the next ones who will take over and make change. And if we don't impact them now, how do we get them later and how do we get them back later? So, the FinFest is such an amazing thing, and I'm so glad that it's been put on. I don't know if Dialect, if you can just give us a quick background of how it even, I know this is the second year, but how did it get started last year and continue into this year?
Yeah, most definitely. So this started out as a collaboration with this group FPP. They were known as Florida Prosperity Partnership, but now they're going more nationwide. They started this financial literacy channel or financial education channel, and we're moving away from literacy. It's not really great for our peoples like that, trying to say that we can't read money. But anyway, this financial education, I'm sidebarring,
No, we
this
love it. We
financial
love it.
education channel called Spondulix. I dig it because it's an old Greek slang term for money. Like in the, I don't know, like way like hundreds of years ago, Greek kids used to call money Spondulix as like the cool thing. So they've got this channel and they do this great financial education film festival where it's narrative short films that are about money things. One that I remember that really impacted me, there was this one about Japanese internment camps, and it was this
Wow.
5 minute short where it was this funeral for this white guy, and there was a Japanese guy sitting in the back, this really old Japanese cat. And as he was coming up, he was flashing back to when the Japanese were interred. A lot of white people took their houses.
Mm.
And what this guy did, he was a neighbor. That's why I'm saying the ethnicities because of what's going on. This white guy was a neighbor of this Japanese man, and he bought his house for $1, promising that he would sell it back to him when he got out.
Mm.
And he kept his word. So this was the guy coming at the end, just like really powerful, beautiful things. And my wife, co-founder of Pockets Change, Pamela Capella, and I were invited to host one year, and we kicked a few lessons about what the shows are talking about in between. And then Bill Mills, who runs FPP, hit me up and he was like, why don't we do a music version? Why don't we do a hip hop version of this? And you can get some indie cats, we'll get like
Mm.
some big names. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. Let's do it. I'm with it. We'll have a battle, all this stuff. And I was like, but what about getting some of the students in? He was like, okay, we could get some students. And I kept talking my stuff, already how I am. So by the end of the conversation, this was entirely a student program. And then they were excited about it. It went really well the first year. I think we had over 3,000 people who watched it live, which is pretty
Wow.
decent for this brand new streaming
Yes. It's
channel and the way
amazing.
that things went. A lot of great submissions, wonderful, wonderful finalists who we've been able to continue to build with. We got, we put this together with the Hip Hop Education Center, with Here for Good Texas, Morphing Minds, like really wonderful organizations who we've been able to build with and continue the mentorship for these students. I mean, our winner from last year is currently enrolled in college at Rock Nation College and
Whoa.
used her FinFest win as part of her audition to get into the school.
Wow, that's
And we've been able to
amazing.
continue to build with her, so all of this made us really excited about how this can be, we're calling it like our Super Bowl. We're always
Yeah.
working with kids and with adults and with teachers and with families about finance. But this gives us the ability to center a lot of stuff, to finish the season, to give students the ability to share what's going on in their minds, not just once, but every year, see how it's growing. We're bringing in some new elements. We've been able to open it up to middle school kids, open it up to the Caribbean, to Canada. My goal in the next few years is to make this something that is not only worldwide, but is respective of all the hip hop elements. I want to bring my beatboxers and my dancers and my
Yes.
visual artists in there so we can do all modes of expression. Y'all know that, getting the words on the beats is the easiest lift for educators and students. So that's the thing we're starting with. I know rappers always take center stage, and no, we're not supposed to. We're part of the hip hop circle, but we got that tendency.
Yeah.
But I'm just, stating the intention
Of
that,
course.
this is how this is going, and the way that it's growing is into all of these modes of learning, so everybody is able to rock in every way they can.
Ooh, boy, dialect. When you be speaking, it sounds like poetry all the time, boy. I'm just,
I
You see it. You see
I
it.
appreciate
I'm
y'all.
telling no, but I mean, I'm so excited to hear, how well it went last year and the growth that you've seen, and I'm super excited that. Well, let's let the listeners know, how are they able to, when will it be, and how are they able to connect and be a part, and watch this, because I think the submission date is already over. You already have your submissions from your students. That's correct. So,
Yep.
how are we able? When and where can we tune in?
Got you. So yes, it will be on spondulix.org. That's SPONDULICS. I know it's a long word, but I think it's fun that it's an old slang word.
It's
Dot
fun.
org. On April 27th. I think it begins at 7 p.m. I think the time is Eastern, but just check on spondulix.org. If you go to spondulix.org right now, you will be able to register so that you can get, and it'll put you on the Eventbrite so you can get all the stuff, so it'll remind you. You can also look at all of the stuff going on hiphopfinfest.com. You can check out all of the info about the prizes, the stuff that the students are submitting. You can check out the judges. There's a lot of really great info there. We can see all of the good stuff that's going on. And yeah, that's how you can check
Whoop,
everything
whoop.
out. If you have any questions, holler at us.
All right, I'm on Spondulix. I went on spondulix.org. Connect me to Hip Hop FinFest. So I'm gonna register myself. Looking forward to it. Oh wow, I really believe it's gonna be. I truly believe in it, and I think, like you said, each year is just gonna grow and grow and impact so many people, and I truly believe that you will be able to see the fruits of this labor, right? You'll be able to see the fruits of this labor to come when we look at the generations who are now submitting and being a part, and then in the future we see how they grow and how they're amazing people. So I'm fully supporting it. I'm so happy. I always got to big up Trey. Mr. Trey Brown, I always got to big him up for this great connection.
Yeah. Big up, Trey.
Yeah, so I really think it's a great time. Well, I just want to, as we wrap up, I want to give you guys the floor just to share anything else that you would like to share or say to the listeners. The floors are yours. Whatever you'd like to share.
Word. I'll try to be quick with mine. So, Queen was talking about inspiration earlier, and I said something that sparked her, and she wanted to rhyme. And one thing I want us to remember about this hip hop stuff is that it shows us the way that art really works. The internet, I think, is democratizing it a bit, but we respond to art with art. It's a thing that we use to communicate rather than a thing we use to put on a pedestal. Remember that the actual denotative meaning of inspiration is to breathe in. We're giving each other breath so that we
Wow.
all can move a little bit better.
Wow. I didn't know that. Amen. Amen. Queen Heroin, You want to add a bar? You want to add a verse on there?
What do you say after
All
that?
right,
To
drop
breathe
my.
in. We just exhaling at this point, just
Right.
after that, it's just a deep exhale after that.
Yes.
I'm gonna go light my candle and meditate.
Come on now.
Geez.
Right.
Yeah, no, again, it's just an honor to be on this platform. There's nothing too much to add to that other than gratitude for spaces like this to make these
Amen.
connections. I
Yes.
think that the one thing that I would say in connection to education, perhaps, is just after 20 years, and this is, with all of us collectively, and you in space now, teaching music, is that it's imperative for us to understand that in order to connect with our students, just remember that they learn in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why, not just hip hop, but just music in general, dance, kinesthetic, all the things. Like, we take in
Mm-hmm.
information in so many different ways. We process it sometimes in other ways, and then we give it back in other ways. And sometimes those ways are same, sometimes they're similar, and they're connected, and sometimes they're, you may take in visually and then need to exhale, through the body,
Yes.
through breakdancing or something like that, breaking. So
Mm.
I think it's just so important to understand that it's not linear, it's not one dimensional. There's so
Mm-hmm.
many layers
It's true.
as educators, and as far as also awareness, being aware of who you are as a learner, for those educators, and how that affects your teaching style, and then who your students are and how they take in information, process, and how they give it back. So there's so much to this, but having the arts as an additional way, is an essential way to really connect, and be yourselves. What I realize is, as soon as I embraced this sense of all the parts of who I am, as an MC, as an educator, as a mother, as a visual artist, the better an educator I became, the better I was able to connect with people and just open additional platforms like this.
Yes.
So don't compartmentalize who you are.
Come
Embrace
on.
all parts, and just find a way to Voltron it. Find a way to put it all together, so that you
Amen.
can really, really, truly work and serve in your purpose.
Amen. Amen. All right. No, you hit that verse too, girl. You hit it too. You. Amen. No.
Inspiration.
Yes.
Inspiration is real.
That's
Authenticity is
it.
real. We're speaking from a real
It
place
is.
of
Yes.
what we know, what we love, what we do, and so it's easy to speak freely about what we live.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah,
And like
absolutely.
as Dyalekt said, you respond with art and art. Respond with art, and and as you said, Queen Heron, there are so many compartments of each person, right? We all have so many talents and gifts that, sometimes we try to hide a piece of it, or think, oh,
Thank
maybe this is not good enough, but and not short the beliefs, but I got to bring it in. God has given each and every one of us. He's given us everything that we need to fulfill our destiny and our purpose. And we can't, like you said, we can't hide anything. We got to use every element that is within us, because it's such a blessing to the world. I think sometimes the world is waiting on us to be ourselves, so we can bless.
Speak on it.
Yes, bless the children, bless those around us. So y'all, it's been such a great conversation today. I'm so grateful that you took time out of your day to come and talk with me and come on Caribbean Rhythms Radio Network. And we're just wishing you all the best. You are always welcome here. We are your family. You are welcome. And we look forward to seeing April 27th on spondulix.org, or you can go to hiphopfinfest.com, get registered. So we look forward to seeing you all and hearing from you, and seeing all those submissions from the amazing children, and hearing what's in store. So just lastly, before I let you go, is there a way that the listeners could connect to you on your social media platforms, or stay connected with you both?
Oh yeah, most definitely. So for me, you can check out the organization is Pockets with an S. Pockets Change is actually a Gertrude Stein quote about money. So it's pocketschange.com, or at Pockets Change anywhere. My name Dyalekt is spelled Dyalekt because we got to be spelling things our own
Come
kind of
on.
way. It's with a Y and a K rather than an I and a C.
Yeah.
So that at most places, dyalekt.com. You can catch me, but if you go through the Pockets Change stuff, you'll be able to see me as well.
All right. And Queen Heroine.
Awesome. Yes, yes. For myself, you can go to at the Queen Heroine, spelled as Dialect said, different spelling. So at, at the Queen Heroine, spelled HERAWIN. You can find me there on Instagram. You can also find me at the Juggernaut. Shout out to my brothers Breeze Brewing and Fever the Kids. So at the Juggernauts, which is a family hip hop group, JUGGAKNOTS, and of course at Hip Hop Education Center. Shout out to Martha Diaz, the founder and CEO.
Woo, big up, Martha.
Yes, shout out Martha, and also we have to shout Fresh, Bold, and So Deaf, also connected to hip hop education, but specifically centered with women. So you can find me at any one of those platforms.
Well, I got to point out real quick
Yes.
that with the spelling of her name, Heroine, which is like HERAWIN, that spells out her.
A win.
Her I win.
Absolutely.
Her I win.
Exactly. And her I win.
Yes.
And we all look for the people winning the
Yeah, man.
FINFEST.
Come on now.
Wanna come true.
I love it. I love it. Well, I
There we go.
I was already following Dialect, but I went and followed you, so we can
Indeed,
stay
sis.
connected. But
Please.
thank y'all so much again, and thank you for what you do in education, for what you do in the arts. It's so inspiring, especially to me being a new educator, just to hear your stories. Yeah, whoop whoop. It ain't easy now. I ain't gonna say it's easy now. Lord help me, but it's
No, we got you. I want to come cipher with your fourth graders. I ain't got to rock with fourth graders in a minute.
I love, fourth grade, because I teach K through fifth. Fourth grade, I've got to say, I really love them because they're at that age where they're old enough to, have great conversations, but they still are young enough where they respect it. The fifth graders now, Lord help me with them fifth graders.
You're not alone. Trust me. We know.
Come
know.
on.
You're doing the work though.
Yes, yes.
And they need that.
And I really, it really helps me respect educators so much because, it isn't easy. But at the end of the day, when you leave and you pack up and you're packing up your computer, you say, you know what? Today was a good day. We made an impact, and to see the kids be happy to learn, and when we play stuff on the instruments and they're like, look, miss, I can do it. I'm like, yes, you can.
Changing lives.
You can. Yes.
Changing lives. Absolutely.
So, sending all of my love to you, and I look forward to, I'm registering, and I'm definitely going to be a part of the FINFEST this year. So wishing
you so
y'all
much.
all the best, and thank you again so much for joining us today.
Thank you so
Yes,
much.
yes.
Shout out
Thank
to
y'all.
Roots and Rhythms. Appreciate you guys.
Oh,
Big
love
up,
it.
y'all.
All right. Well, take care. You enjoy the rest of your weekend, all righty?
You
All
got
right.
this one.
All
Okay.
right.
Peace.
Take care, y'all. Bye. Wowzers. What a conversation. Thank you again to Dialekt and Queen Heroine, Hip Hop FinFest. You can, come on, it's not too late to register, April 27th. Let's be a part of this historical movement that is happening in education, in hip hop, and in our literacy, financial literacy and education. So make sure you visit hiphopfinfest.com. You can register there, and then also you can watch on April 27th at Spondulix, SPONDULICS.com, April 27th. After that great conversation, y'all do not want to miss it. We're going to just take a quick commercial break as we wrap up this segment, and we're going to be welcoming Mr. John Perry. He's Pandakana this morning, all right? So we're looking forward to having him, but we will be right back after this quick commercial break.